Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of EOS. It's 1090 Jake. I'm rocking with y'all, y'all rocking with me. I got a souped up interview for y'all, a very, very special guest for y'all. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, what's up? My name is Christina, Randall. So they're going to be like, who is this Valley chick you got on your channel?
You have been supporting me behind the scenes since I started. You have reached out to me. You've given me so much advice starting off as a YouTuber. I greatly appreciate it. You even brought me onto your channel. And now you're coming onto mine, which is amazing. I'm so thankful for you, for all the advice that you've given me. But go ahead and tell the people that don't know you, how much time did you do in the Florida Department of Corrections?
I was sentenced to 3 years in prison whenever I was 21 years old. I ended up doing, I think, 31 months because I was able to get some game time. We call it game time down there. Even with all of the drama and the craziness that went on, I was still able to get me a few months off. So 31 months is what I ended up serving.
And how many different prisons did you hit during that time?
2. I hit Lowell, the main one, the annex, and then I went to Hernando.
Now, I've heard that Lowell is crazy. We had a female corrections officer that worked at Lancaster, which was the youth offender prison, and it was the worst one at the time in the state of Florida. And she was telling us that the female YO in Lowell was worse than the male. And not necessarily because of the cuttings and the stabbings, but it was worse in a sense of you guys just operate differently on the female side than the male side. And I've been dying to hear the female perspective of the prison system, especially Lowell, the abuse. Lowell CI has been in the news like crazy. Back in August, 4 guards beat a female and she's paralyzed now. And then just recently, a corrections officer was arrested for bleaching an inmate's food. And she was seen on camera telling the inmate, I got something for you. So I've heard that super, super crazy, abusive inside of these women's prisons. How was your experience? Like, how was it your first day at reception?
Oh, the first day at reception is traumatizing. Like, listen, okay, I'm not a goody-goody. I did my dirt. I was running the streets. I deserved to be in prison. I'm just going to say that right off rip. I deserved my prison sentence. But when you first get there, like for us, well, first of all, we have to travel. And I'm sure you know this. We had to travel like 7 hours to get there, and we're handcuffed, shackled, and we got, the belly chain around. And so the whole entire time, and we're riding in a paddy wagon or a box truck, whatever you want to call it, super hot. You're sweating. People are peeing on themselves. People are pooing on themselves. Like, it's disgusting. It's hot. It's stinky. Whatever. And then when they finally pull up to the prison and they open up the big back of that truck, and we come all waddling out, having to jump out, they just start screaming in your face. And you got to understand, you have to jump out the back of this truck. Some of these women are 65 years old. Yeah, they broke the law unless they were innocent. Now, there are some people that are always innocent, whatever. There's a small group of those. But you got 65-year-old women having to jump out the back of this truck in their handcuffs, shackles. My legs are bleeding. Shackles done ate my wrist up, my ankles up. And they're like, when you first get off the truck, and if anybody's ever been to Lowell that's watching this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There's about 4, I don't even know how many women that are going to be standing there. And these are big women, and no shame in anybody for your size, but I'm just trying to paint this picture. These are 400-pound women that are yelling in your face. They're spitting in your face. Move, get over there. And when they finally get you back there to get strip searched, that's all they do is yell at you, spit at you, snatch you around. And I really think in that moment, they're trying to show their dominance, trying to break you down and let you know, like, this is our house. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it's like when you first arrive.
That's crazy, because that's literally what I went through to a T. Like, they put my shackles on too tight purposely.
Bleeding.
No skin left. And they would always have the biggest COs waiting for you to come to throw you around, beat you up a little bit. I didn't think that y'all went through it like that. Like, damn.
Yeah, we do.
That's crazy. So you get to the prison, you're going through all of this, and then I'm guessing like reception takes a few hours for y'all too. Everyone has to strip down, you get your blues and everything like that. When was the first time you were actually able to take a breath and be like, okay, I'm in prison, this is it?
Probably because like when they're getting you through reception, it's like an 8 to 10 hour process. It's all day long because you come with a big group of women, and I don't know what all they got to do with y'all, but they do a lot with us. And there's a lot of sitting and waiting and sitting on the floor and like having to pee and being hungry and not eating all day and all that good stuff, which no pity party. We are in prison, but that's just what it is. I didn't get a breath until I finally took the walk of shame and got into the dorm on my bed, which was later on that evening. So, and the walk of shame is when you're done with your strip search, which is absolutely horrible for the women. I don't know what it's like for the men, but it's horrible. But you have to, they finally open the door when you're done, and it's like the lights coming in because you've been in a back of a truck for 7 hours, and then you've been inside this building for another 8 hours, and then the light hits you, and you have to walk. When you walk out that door, you see on both sides it's fences, and there's women in both sides of the fences, and they come to that fence, baby, to see who that fresh meat is. And when I tell you, you might think it's cute, it ain't cute. You have all these women that are coming from each side, and they're all hanging on the fence, and they're, hey girl, what's up? Hey girl. And you're just like carrying your bag like, oh my God. And this ain't no little cute stuff you're going to see on TV. These are girls that's going to take your cookie for real. Like it's, and then you finally get through and you're just trying to get in there. Like, where is my bed? Where can I sleep? Where can I hide? That's what it feels like on the first day.
Now, I'm not going to lie. When I went to my first adult prison, even when I went to my first reception center, I kind of felt that same way. I don't want anybody to try and take nothing from me.
Yes.
It was definitely a factor, and being that it is prison, it's definitely something that you're going to think about, and it can be very intimidating. What were you thinking in your head as far as if someone did try to approach you in a sexual or violent manner? Were you thinking of any...
I'm thinking they're gonna have to whoop me. I ain't afraid to take no butt whooping if I have to.
You were ready to go.
It's gonna be what it is. Of course, I didn't want nothing like that in there because this is the thing. I'm not the biggest, baddest chick in a room. There's plenty of people that can beat me. Plus, let's be real. What's a fair fight anymore? You're in prison. There's locks and socks like nothing in there. Somebody will bust you in the head with a lock and a sock, but I just always felt like you're going to have to do it. Like, let's do it. Let's cuff up and go to lock. But thankfully, that did not happen. I definitely had women who tried to get at me to the point that it was almost uncomfortable and annoying, but then nobody put their hands on me. So we were good.
Now, with the women, if someone does try to approach you in a way like that and say, hey, I think you're cute, are you able to respectfully?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because for the men, if someone walks up to me and says I'm cute, it's like I have to kill you. If I put a knife in you, there's a huge problem, and it can result in me getting a knife put in me.
No, in prison, it's so bizarre too in the women's prison because we are very hormonal creatures, I guess that you would say. Even you'll have women that'll come in there that's 65 years old, was a librarian on the street, but had some wine after work and hit somebody in an accident and got sent to 15 years in prison. Ain't never been in trouble before in her life. You'll see her in there in 3 months holding hands with another woman. Like, it happens all the time. So it's not like that in there. There's a very, very, very small, I would say, percentage of people that are offended by women with being with women, but for the most part, it's all over the place in there. And then you have the studs, which the studs are the more masculine females. And some of these studs, when I tell you, I'm not joking, they look like men, and not just men. I'm talking about fine men. I'm talking about gold teeth, 6-pack, tatted up, whole full beards because they've been taking their hormones. So you're sitting in prison, right? And you got 1,000 women, well, not 1,000 out at one time, but say you got 200 women out on the compound. You'll see what looks like 6, 7, 5, 6, 7 men, and you're like, dang, like you have to remind yourself that like although they identify as a man, you're not in prison with men, but they look, like I said, out there pushing lawnmowers with full beards and gold teeth. You're like, dang, it's like that in there. And then all the women are after them. Let me tell you something too. If you are a stud in prison, and please don't nobody go to prison, because nothing is fun about it. You don't got to have $1 to your name. Them women will take care of you. That's how it rolls up in there. If you are a stud and you look anything halfway remotely like a man, you ain't got to worry about nothing.
That is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of the same way in our prisons. The most feminine looking person is going to get treated like a princess.
Yep.
But for us, it's like, you know what I mean? Like the majority of us, we don't want nothing to do with that. We don't even want to see it, but it's a reality that we have to deal with. Now, how soon do the male COs start approaching themselves on the female? Because I know in a position of power, when you give power to people that are truly cowards and are willing to abuse that power, that they're going to try to do something. They're going to, whether it's comments, whether it's actual sexual advances. How soon was the abuse by the COs?
Oh, immediately. They say what they want to say. They go and, look you up in their little computer system to find out personal information about you so they can come up and let you know. Like, it's immediate. And I don't know whether it's, like I said, just to show their dominance, or if some of them are just really sick. Now, before I get into this, I do want to say not all COs are bad. Now, not all of them. From my personal experience, the ones that I've run it into, most of them, okay, most of them are shady. That's what it is. But not all of them are. There are good correctional officers. I just didn't get to meet many of them. Anyways, there's been experiences, even one of my very, very close friends, she was just here last week. We were in prison together and we're still very close to this day. She was in the YO program, and she had, the lieutenants coming up, and she had did some videos in her youth, and they were like watching them and like talking to her about them and like telling her about her body parts in front of everybody. And it's just like, that alone, that's not even including touching anybody or anything. It's just disgusting. She's in the kid program too. You know what I mean? It's like, just come there and do your job, just come there, do your job and go home. Why you got to do all that extra stuff? So it happens all the time. The girls in the closets with the correctional officers, you got girls that turn up pregnant, like it all happens.
But would you say that it's kind of a two-sided thing? Because I'm sure that there are some women that will use their looks to get what they want from these officers at the same time. So do you feel that with the, trying to get, whether it's contraband, drugs, cell phones, etc.,
it absolutely is. It absolutely is. And no offense or anything, but like in our position, we're criminals. What do we got to lose? You know what I'm saying? Like, what do we got to lose? If we're going to flirt with you a little bit, you're going to bring us in an extra shampoo or whatever it is. Like, if it's substances, drugs, or whatever people want, like they're going to do it. I mean, of course they are. They're going to get, and it don't matter. This is the thing too. When it comes to officers, it don't matter what you look like. It don't matter what you smell. You could be the stankiest, sloppiest officer. If a woman thinks you're going to bring her in something, you're going to have them all over you.
Mm-hmm.
They love that. Oh, Lord.
That's crazy.
It is.
So when you finally take, this breath of fresh air, you've gone through reception, you've had the girl staring you down. How is it when you enter the dorm? Is there any racial segregation? Is there any gang groups up? You got to go with these people, your home team, or anything like that?
I have heard that there is, but I guess I never felt that. I hung out with everybody. As a matter of fact, when I was in Lowell, which was the hardest camp or the hardest compound, I remember I gravitated more towards, people of color. And so I just never felt like that. I never felt like, if I see a group of people playing cards, I go up and ask them, I don't care what color they are. I'm going to go sit down and say, hey, what's up? Can I get in on that? And I've never personally had a problem. Now, I have had other people that I've been in prison with that have said that they did feel that. But maybe it's because of where I grew up. Maybe it's because of my lifestyle before that. I don't feel like people treated me differently. I don't know. I didn't feel like that. But according to some people, there is segregation. I didn't feel it. It's not like in the male's prison, or like you see on 60 Days In or whatever, where it's like if one race gets caught talking to another race, it's a riot. It's not that. I would say more of what people are saying is people stay clicked up together in races. But I mean, I didn't.
Is there still like a decent gang population within the female side?
Not really. You'll see girlfriends of gang members or wives of gang members, but not in there. Now you'll hear like women, maybe a couple women that are claiming their gang or whatever, but it's not like what y'all say by any means. It's not like the males where it's, a lot of politics with that. It's not like that in there.
And with the COs, do they enforce any type of racial discrimination, or do they specifically target anybody, or they just going at everyone?
Not a race that I personally seen, but then again, I was one of the ones getting targeted. So I was too busy trying to duck and dodge my own self versus worried about what they were doing to others. I was definitely a person that got picked on.
What do you think it was about you that made you a target?
I honestly do not know. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, in the beginning of my prison sentence, I was doing little things, scheming and scamming, maybe getting, some extra sugar packets from the people that cook, or, making some hooch or something like that. But I wasn't like on a scale of what was going on in the prison. It's not like I was like doing drugs or anything. I wasn't doing anything like that. So I don't know what it was about me that made a couple of them really pick on me and like throw me in the hole, make up stuff, write up stuff on me that I really didn't do. Listen, I have done so many shady things in my life. I ain't got no problem telling you like, yeah, I did that. That was dumb. Or yeah, I did this. But literally the things that I got wrote up for and thrown in the hole for were all fabricated by the officers. And that really messes with your head, because it shows you like, you ain't got no control. Like if I want to take your game time, if I want to throw you in the hole and make you lose your job on compound, your bed, maybe I had a sweet spot in the dorm. When you get locked up, you're at risk of your stuff being stolen until they clear out your bunk, like completely powerless. And for what? They really make their presence known to you like that in the females' prison. I don't know if they do in the males, but they let you know like your life is in our hands.
Oh yeah, they definitely. I did almost 300 days straight in confinement originally off of something I didn't even do.
Yep.
They put me in there, then they were trying to starve me, so I started kicking the door down. So because I was reacting to their actions, I got even more time in confinement, which is just, you feel so helpless and powerless when you're inside of the Department of Corrections.
I always say that like being in confinement or being in the hole or the shoe or whatever you want to call it, is probably one of the lowest places on earth you can be. Because you really realize when you're in there, like what worse can it get than death? You are literally in prison, inside of prison. Yeah. And then not only that, your mind starts thinking like, what if there's a fire? What if there's an explosion? You ain't getting out. You're going to die in that cell. They're not going to come by and let you out and free you. Like you are stuck in there. And especially when you're in there and you didn't even do anything, dude, it messes with your head.
How were you able to push through that?
Counting my meals is really all I could do. Was waiting for breakfast, waiting for lunch, waiting for dinner. Of course, you do little things. I know you try to exercise, walk in circles, tap on the walls, talk to people through the vents, little things like that, but really not much. I mean, the first time they threw me in the hole, they put me in a room with another woman who was very, very mentally ill. She should not have even been in prison in the first place. She should have been in, which I'm sure there's a lot of people that are like that in prison. They should be in a mental hospital, not in prison. It's not fair. It's inhumane. Yeah. She was in there, man. She smeared her own poo all over the walls. I'm stuck in this room with this lady. and I can't do nothing about it. Like, I'm just like, Lord, please don't let her put her hands on me. Jesus, help me. And what you going to do? You're stuck in there. And I'm not going to fight this lady who is mentally ill, you know, or like yell at her. Like, I'm trying to bang on the walls. Like, she is not okay, but they leave you in there. They leave you in there. So they do. And sometimes they do it just to mess with your head.
Yeah.
And they wonder why some people, and it's not an excuse, but some people get out and they got serious PTSD and mental issues from the things that go on in there.
Do you feel that you have PTSD?
I had PTSD before I went to prison. I just think that it's just added to it, because I'm telling you right now, I am so like paranoid, especially when it comes to cops, probably to an unhealthy measure. I'm good. I'm legal. I don't do nothing. I ain't got nothing in my car. But I say, if a cop gets behind me, I like about lose my mess, because it's like, I know the control that these forces have. They can pull me over, throw something in my car and say, we're taking you. Like, when you get put in these situations where they show you that you can't do nothing. Like, even if you're doing everything right, we can still say you're doing something wrong. Forever that messes with your head, because you're like, what if they do that again? You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
It definitely does. It definitely does. I mean, some of the things that I went through that I hold on to, where I watch some people get beat, it bothers me a lot to this day. And some of the things that I still hear about going on, you know, I get emails from my friends on JPay. One of them was put on cell strip like 3 to 4 times during an 80-day confinement bid, because it's 40 degrees at the prison that he's at. So they're taking everything from him and leaving him in his boxes in 40-degree weather for 3 to 5 days at a time, just because they can, because these are the type of games that they play. And it's hard to hear it. It's hard to go through it, but it's harder to know that while I'm enjoying the comfort of freedom,
Yeah.
they're still going through that. And like you, I also had PTSD before I went to prison. I was diagnosed at a very young age. And it's to the point now, since I've started my YouTube channel, I dream more about prison.
Mm.
My dreams are much more vivid and much more violent. And my thoughts always race. If I'm not in the comfort of my own home, if I'm out, my thoughts are always going crazy. And sometimes I have to calm myself down and regain that control, because I don't feel in control. And that's a huge issue that I deal with now, is not being in control because of how much control they had over me, the power.
Yeah. Yeah. It's heartbreaking. My friend is in prison right now serving a natural life sentence without parole. Did not even hurt anybody. Didn't even hurt nobody. Didn't punch nobody. Didn't do anything like that. And he has the same sentence as somebody that's like literally murdered their whole family. And the things that they do to him, his mom has died while he's been in there. His dad died while he's been in there. Now he's been in there 16 years. And the things that they do to him is just absolutely crazy. Throwing him in the hole like that. But when it's summer and it's hot and you can't even breathe in there, not feeding them. And it's like, you have people like me. Okay, I had a 3-year sentence. I'm getting out. Then you got people in there that's like this. They ain't got no family or nobody to, you know, what are they going to, you know, they can do this kind of stuff to people. And how are they going to get in trouble? They ain't got no mama, no daddy, or nobody to call. You know, they can literally just do whatever they want. And it's scary.
Now, did you ever have any fun, any good times while you were inside of prison?
Yeah, of course I did. We had
What
fun. We did some things.
What were some of the things? Because I know you were saying that y'all were making hooch in there. Was you drinking in there too?
I did one time. I hate it. Tastes so nasty. It tastes like a real
Yeah,
strong wine cooler.
it's
It's
bad.
nasty. It stinks. I did one time, but other than that, I worked out a lot while I was in there. At one point, I was like the fitness instructor, so that was really cool. I loved doing that. I jogged a lot, but then also in the evenings, like we would do this thing called we would go to the club and stuff like that. Did y'all do that in there? We'd have like our little music and our snacks and stuff. I mean, that's the most we could do. Of course, there are people in there that were doing drugs. I didn't do any while I was in there. I just didn't want to. I think when I was in jail, or maybe when I was in prison, I think I took somebody's pill one time, but it's like, for me, I just didn't understand how these women were in there snorting and you're all geeked up and you're in prison. Like, seemed like a horrible feeling to me. Like, why would you want to be like, you can't get out, you can't go anywhere, you can't jump in the car and do anything. Like, you're stuck in here. Like, so, but yeah, so I just did little stuff like that and watched everybody else do their crazy mess.
See, I mean, we used to kind of do the club thing too. In county jail, we had the club. On the weekends, we had an officer that would come in, because in the county dorm, an officer sits in there the whole time. And he has a little intercom, so when he talks into it, everyone can hear. And he would take his phone and put music on. So it wouldn't be the radio. So we get to listen, because in Tampa, on the weekends, it tunes into the local clubs. So we get to listen to all the club music, and we all have our own little quads because it's open bay. We don't have cells, and people will be up dancing, hanging out, drinking coffee.
See, little things like that. That's awesome.
It's the little things like that.
Yep.
Not only do you enjoy these times, and it can also make everyone relax. It can dead a lot of beef in there. A lot of people can just enjoy each other's time, but it builds a lot of respect, because the fact that that correction officer or that deputy, whatever you want to call him, he's doing something so small like that, but he's doing it because he knows what it means to y'all. You know what I mean? Like, a little bit of humility that he could just tell us, nope, everyone get on the bunk, lay down, shut up. But just something like that, it kind of builds a bond between the inmates and the staffs.
Yep.
Where you're still treating us like human beings, which I feel like in the Department of Corrections really didn't exist.
Not much. And he's not doing anything like illegal that he would go to jail for or anything like that. Yeah. I mean, it's like, in my point of view, like, I don't think, especially on the outsides, I definitely think officers should do their job at the very, very, very least. Just keep it, black and white. Just do what you're supposed to do and go home. But for me, I don't think an officer, and you may not like this because I know you still got some friends in, I don't think they should bring in substances or anything like that. Don't do none of that. But like in my case, let me have an extra pad, because see, for the women, we only get like 2 pads at a time, or, if we're on our menstrual cycle, and like every now and then you'd have an officer that would maybe give you an extra or something. And it's like those little tiny things that may seem insignificant really meant a lot.
See, I actually 100% agree with you. And I brought this up, and someone reached out to me who I'm very close with, and he's a high-ranking gang member, and we spoke on this together. And we came to the conclusion, we both agreed, we would rather be in a prison where we can educate ourselves, educate our people, and learn a trade, so that when we come back into society, we can come back into society the way that we're supposed to, instead of having the cell phones, instead of having the drugs. Because even if I'm not consuming the drugs, I'm responsible for who I sell them to. And if I'm being provided drugs that are not what I think they are, and someone dies, it's not the CO that brought it to me that gets in trouble, it's me. Now I have even more time. If I spend my whole bid doing illegal activities such as dealing drugs within the prison, 9 times out of 9, I'm going to be released and do the exact same thing that I know. I'm not just going to get out after selling drugs for 3 years in prison and be like, okay, let's go to school. You know what I'm saying? So I would rather have the COs that do what they're supposed to do, the COs that still treat us like human beings, but also the opportunity to succeed and come back into society and do what I'm supposed to do. Because the gangs, as the male sides are completely run by, we're for the betterment of our people. Most of these gangs, their knowledge comes from a positive stance, but they've been poisoned by the drugs, by the violence, and very few leaders within these groups are willing to stand up and say, look, this is the direction that we need to go. A lot of the drugs that we were able to do inside of prison, we're no longer able to do them. K2, which you could get it at a store, you can't anymore. So the K2 is all homemade. It's poisoning everyone. They're seizing out. So none of the gangs are allowed to use K2 anymore. They can only use weed, but they're not allowed to use weed because the COs can test for that.
Right.
So we spoke on it, and we would rather they do what they're supposed to do And the little things, like giving us extra toilet paper, or if they're giving us bed sheets that are ripped up with holes, like, just treat us like we're not animals, because going through that abuse and seeing that dark side of people, we hold on to that and it affects us when we come home. And some people do lash out when they are released.
Yeah. I think a big thing in like you said, from my perspective and my experience, is the lack of classes or stuff like that in there. And I know there's going to be a lot of people that's going to say, you're in prison, you don't deserve to go to school. You don't, but like at the end of the day, when we get out, we're coming back out to be around you. We're coming back out to be around your daughters and your sons. And we may move in next door to you or across the street from you. So you want to, rehabilitate if you can. I mean, the money and the funding is there. Where's it going though? You got COs that are underpaid and overworked. Let's just be real and say what it is. You're feeding us slop. Like, y'all are getting billions of dollars. Where's that money going? Like, let's take it out of the CEO's pockets and invest it into some classes. Because I believe that if you have more of these men and women that are in prison that were able to do something to better themselves, it gives them a sense of confidence. It gives them a sense that I can do this. Or then they don't want to get in trouble maybe in prison because they got something to look forward to, or something that they're working on, something that they can make their children and their family proud about. But no, you want us to all sit around in there and 10 people fight for 3 years over one class is crazy.
This is why you're my favorite, because everything you say, I agree with 110%. Literally, the same thing. My proudest moment in prison was getting my GED. And I had no idea it would feel that good to have that accomplishment. And I feel that the majority of people inside of prison did not care about the crimes that they committed because they didn't have any accomplishments. They didn't have anything that was theirs. They had nothing to lose. And when you gain something, you don't want to lose that. So because we touched down on that, how does it feel now being free and being such a successful YouTuber, mom, role model, everything? You know what I mean? How does that feel to you, accomplishing everything that you have and being in the position that you're in now, knowing where you came from?
It feels incredible. It feels like, almost, I'll be honest with you, almost like I don't deserve the life that I have. You know what I mean? And also, it's very scary because, at every single day, in any moment, it's like I'm waiting for everything to fall apart. And I know that all of that has to do with my issues from before, from my own mental issues and my own struggles. And for going so long of my life without having anything, without having any love or support or anybody that had my back or anybody that really cared. And now that I have all that now, it's like every day I'm like waiting to wake up and everybody go away. You know what I'm saying? It's really weird. I'm thankful, but that also, because of that, I'm so grateful for every single moment, every single friend, every relationship I have with my family and my audience and my, I hate to call them subscribers or followers. I feel like that's so impersonal, but like every single person in my life means so much more to me because I know what it's like to go through life without. You know what I mean?
Definitely. And I mean, even now, like, you're literally on TV. Like, I was just watching you on TV last night on Spy Games on Bravo. It's amazing to see. And I respect you so much for how far you've come and how much you've accomplished, but also the fact that what you do behind the scenes. You know what I mean? Because how you helped me, you didn't ask for a shout out. There wasn't any ill intent. It was just pure. It was genuine. And I have so much respect for that because it isn't common. Even with people I've collabed with, I've seen that it's nothing more than that. It's a collaboration. And once we're done and it's posted, it's like, hey, if you get subs and subscribers, followers, that's good for you. But other than that, there's not too much communication. There's no friendship. There's really not any support. And with you, it's just been nothing but support, nothing but love. I appreciate that so much. And how does it feel? Because it's one thing when you can build yourself up. How does it feel building others and being in a position to help people so much?
It feels like this is what I was born to do, really, honestly. My whole stance is what's the point of being successful if you are not turning around and helping others? You know what I mean? Like, you could have all the money in the world, but if you're not helping others, then what's the point? That's just kind of how I feel. And as far as you're concerned, you literally do not have to thank me, Jake. You're a special person, and you are going to go far because of who you are. And I saw that the first time that I saw you. Like, I knew that you had that it factor, and I'm just thankful. Yeah, I'm just thankful that I get to be your friend. So thank you.
And I mean, I even saw your husband in Haiti and
He's
playing
there.
around
Yeah,
with,
he's
with,
coming
with
back.
the drone for the kids. Like, that's amazing, and it's so inspiring. And I hope that as my channel grows, I can start to give back more and more. You know, being
You
able to
will.
support the people that I have that are still inside of prison is an amazing feeling. And reading the messages of how the pen pals and just getting their story out there, how it boosts, you know, how they feel on the inside. It boosts their spirits. And I feel like I have them walking around the compound with a different confidence, with something to look forward to, even the ones that don't currently have a release date. And I don't know, it's great. It's amazing. You're inspiring. I thank you so much for coming on to my channel. If there's any shout outs or anything, definitely shout out your channel. Definitely shout out your Instagram for everyone so they can jump on and follow you and subscribe.
My YouTube channel is Christina Randall, my name, and my Instagram is Christina Randall as well. But Jake, you should be really proud of yourself, dude, for real. Like, I want you to know that, and I'm sure that you know this, but I'm gonna say it anyways because I'm a big sister you for a moment. The fact that you're sending them money and stuff is not even the biggest deal. The fact that you're in contact and they know you're out here making it, that's what's got them walking around differently, because they're thinking, if he can do it, I can do it too. You know what I'm saying? Like, I see some of the screenshots you post, dude. They're like happy. They're so thankful that you're even talking to them. So, I know you say you want to do more, and you will do more. That's not even a question, but like, you're already doing so much. So that's what's up. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I wish I could just hug you through the
Hug.
screen. But
Well,
thank you so much for coming on. I'm sure that everyone will ask for a part two, so maybe we can do something again in the future. But
let me know.
like I said, thank you, and I'll talk to you later.
Bye, everybody. Bye.